I never thought I'd wake up in someone else's skin, staring at my own face in the mirror, her smug smile frozen like a bad Botox job. But there I was. Fingers, her fingers, tracing the lines of betrayal etched into what used to be mine. The scent of her Chanel No. 5 choking me like the lies she'd fed the board. And in that moment, as the first drop of rain hit the penthouse window, I decided Victoria Hale would pay for stealing my life, one client at a time, until her empire crumbled under the weight of truths she buried deeper than her daddy's offshore accounts. It started with a handshake at the quarterly gala, her palm slick with ambition, mine still warm from closing the Whitaker deal, the one that should have made me untouchable at Apex Global. "Grace, you're a shark," she'd purred, clinking her flute against mine, her eyes already calculating how to fillet me. By dawn, my inbox was a slaughterhouse. Clients poached, accusations of insider trading pinned on me like a scarlet letter, and HR's termination letter drafted before the coffee cooled. I didn't just lose my job, I lost the fall guy role for her Ponzi scheme, the one she'd run right under the CEO's nose, using my access codes she'd swiped during our girls' night at the Spotted Pig. Now, trapped in her body, some freak lab accident at the company retreat, a prototype neural enhancer gone haywire during that team-building trust fall in the Hamptons, I had the keys to her kingdom. Her Rolodex, her corner office, her husband who thought fidelity was optional. But revenge isn't a light switch, it's a slow bleed. And I was going to make sure every drop stained her legacy. The Hamptons air was thick with salt and secrets that July weekend, the kind of sticky heat that makes linen shirts cling like a guilty conscience. Apex Global's retreat was billed as recharge and reset, but for us mid-level sharks circling the C-suite, it was a gladiator pit dressed in seersucker. I'd flown in from the city on fumes, another all-nighter closing the Whitaker merger. My BlackBerry buzzing like a hornet's nest with Victoria's passive-aggressive texts. "Miss the yoga sesh. Grace, loosen up, or you'll snap." She was already there. Of course. Victoria Hale. The golden girl with the trust fund glow and a laugh that echoed like wind chimes in a hurricane. We'd been friends since Wharton, roommates who bonded over boxed wine and brutal case studies, but lately, her smiles felt like audits. The accident happened during the trust exercise. That godforsaken quantum leap demo from the R&D lab. Dr. Elias, our resident mad scientist with a beard like Einstein on a bender, was unveiling his neural enhancer, a sleek headset promising synaptic synergy for better team intuition. "Imagine closing deals before they're pitched," he droned, strapping it on volunteers. Victoria, ever the spotlight hog, dragged me up. "Come on, Grace, live a little. What's the worst that could happen?" Her wink was a dagger twist. The zap was instant. A white-hot migraine that tasted like copper pennies and regret. I blacked out mid-laugh, the crowd's applause fading to static. When I came to, the world was upside down, not literally, but close enough. Sunlight pierced my eyes through lashes that weren't mine, longer, fake as her alibis. I sat up on the manicured lawn, grass stains on a silk blouse I'd never splurged for, and caught my reflection in a volunteer's sunglasses, Victoria's face, porcelain skin stretched over cheekbones sharp as her stilettos. Panic clawed my throat, but the voice that escaped was hers, honey drawl, mid-Atlantic polish. "What the fuck, Dr. Elias rushed over, his face paling under the SPF. "MS. Hale? Are you alright?" The feedback loop, it must have crossed wires. Crossed wires. That's what he called it when two executive brains got barbecued in a prototype glitch, swapping neural imprints like trading cards. Grace Harlan's mind in Victoria Hale's body, Victoria's in mine. He swore it was temporary, a synaptic hiccup, but his eyes darted like a cornered rat. We need to reverse it.
Discreetly.
Apex can't afford the scandal.
Discreetly. Right.
Because nothing says quiet like your rival waking up as you. In your cramped Chelsea walk-up, while you're lounging in her Tribeca loft with ocean views and an espresso that whispers affirmations. I played along at first, nodding through the medevac chopper ride back to the city, her body humming with an unfamiliar energy, caffeine tolerance like a linebacker. No crash from the 3 espressos she'd chugged. But as the skyline swallowed us, I felt the shift, not just skin deep, but bone. Her memories flickered at the edges. Unbidden late nights, forging my signatures on those shady client transfers. The thrill of siphoning funds into her Cayman slush fund. She'd framed me. Not a hunch, a download. Courtesy of the swap. By the time we landed on the helipad atop Apex Tower, I was seething. The boardroom waited below, oblivious, prepping for Q3 projections. Victoria, in my body, looking like a thrift store knockoff of herself, stumbled out, demanding coffee and calling everyone by the wrong names. "Where's my fucking kale smoothie?" "Interns," she barked in my voice, a Jersey twang she'd always mocked. The staff scattered like pigeons.
DR.
Elias pulled me aside in the executive washroom, marble echoing our whispers. The reversal protocol needs 48 hours. Synaptic realignment. In the meantime, maintain cover. If word leaks. He trailed off. But I knew, lawsuits.
SC Prod.
The whole house of cards tumbling. Apex wasn't just a firm, it was a machine, grinding up the weak and spitting out bonuses for the cunning. And Victoria? She'd been the oil. Slick and essential. While I was the grit they blamed for every squeak. I locked myself in her office. Our office now. Plush leather and floor-to-ceiling glass overlooking the Hudson. The river churning like my gut. Her desk drawer yielded the smoking gun, a burner phone. Text to offshore brokers timestamped with my login. Diversion complete. Grace takes the heat. Q3 mine. Betrayal hit like vertigo, deeper than the swap's disorientation. We'd shared everything once, crushes, career kills, that pact over Cosmos at the Jane to lift each other up. But she'd been lifting my career. All right, onto her altar of ambition. Night fell. City lights winking like conspirators. I texted her in my body from her phone. "We need to talk." My place.
Now.
No response.
Fine.
I'd improvise. Slipping into her Louboutins felt like stepping into a noose. But the click-clack down the hall was armor. HR's floor was a ghost town. Quarter-end carnage leaving empty cubes and flickering fluorescence. Marlene, the Dragon Lady director, was still there, hunched over spreadsheets, her reading glasses perched like a judge's gavel. "Victoria, what are you doing here?" She didn't look up, fingers flying over keys. I leaned on her desk, channeling her Ice Queen vibe. "Loose ends. Marlene." Grace Harlan's files, pull them. Everything. Her eyes narrowed, suspicion creasing her Botox-free forehead.
Why?
"She's out. Termination's final. Not if I say otherwise." I flashed her a smile, Victoria's weaponized charm, and it worked. The old bat logging in without a peep. Screens bloomed with my digital corpse, emails doctored, trades backdated, a fabricated trail leading straight to me. But buried in the metadata, her fingerprints, sloppy digital DNA. As Marlene printed the dossiers, I felt the first thrill of payback, a slow poison, not a sledgehammer. I'd start small, leak a whisper to the Whitaker rep, plant out about Victoria's recent slip-ups. By morning, her poached clients would itch. But the real fun? Watching her squirm in my skin, fumbling my Rolodex, while I dismantled her from the inside. The clock struck midnight, and I slipped out into the drizzle-slick streets, her Burberry trench shielding me from prying eyes. My old apartment was a 10-minute cab ride, but I walked, heels punishing the pavement, letting the rain wash away the last of Grace's hesitation. Victoria was there, barricaded behind my flimsy door, pacing in yoga pants that hung loose on my frame. She yanked it open. My face, twisted in fury. "What the hell did you do? Grace? This body,
It's weak.
I can't even run without cramping." I stepped inside, her perfume clinging to me like a second skin. "Welcome to my world, Vic. Now imagine that. Plus poverty and a pink slip." She lunged, but I sidestepped, her reflexes sharper than mine, and pinned her against the wall with a forearm that felt foreign, powerful. The swap? Not an accident. Elias is on payroll. Remember? Your payroll. A lie? But it landed. Her eyes widening. "You wanted me out. Now you're in." We circled each other like alley cats. Accusations flying. Her theft of the Keller account. My insubordination that justified the frame job. But beneath it, the secret she'd buried, the one that made this personal. 10 years ago, fresh out of Wharton, we'd covered for each other on a hazing prank gone wrong, a rival's car keyed, escalating to arson whispers. But she'd let me take the campus rap, expunging her record while mine scarred my resume. "You were the weak link," she spat. "Always have been. Weak." I'd built Apex's pipeline while she schmoozed. But that night, staring into my own eyes, hunted, I vowed she'd choke on her own venom. By dawn, we'd truce, feigning normalcy for the reversal. But as I left her there, curled on my thrift store couch, I pocketed her burner phone. Phase 1, Intel. Phase 2, burn it all. The next 48 hours blurred into a fevered dream of duality. Mornings in her office, afternoons shadowing myself through bored calls, evenings decoding her encrypted drives. Clients trickled back, Whitaker citing concerns about her erratic behavior, and HR's probe, triggered by an anonymous tip me, from a VPN in her Starbucks run, started sniffing. Victoria raged via burner texts, "Fix this, or we're both sunk." But sunk was where I wanted her. Reversal day arrived in Elias's sublevel lab, humming with servers and regret. Strapped to adjacent chairs, headsets humming, he initiated the sync. Electricity prickled, memories merging, hers of boardroom conquests, mine of quiet betrayals. Pain lanced, and for a split second, I saw the truth. The enhancer wasn't a glitch, it was her pet project, tested on interns, meant to borrow rivals' instincts. She'd volunteered us to steal my edge. The jolt faded, and I blinked into my own skin, familiar aches, calluses from late nights. Across the room, she gasped, flexing fingers that were hers again. "It's over," she whispered, triumph edging her voice. But as Elias unstrapped us, I palmed the USB from his console, the full schematics. Proof of Apex's dirty R&D. Over?
Hell no.
The quarter end loomed, and with it, her empire's endgame. Quarter end at Apex was a blood sport. The trading floor a coliseum where bonuses were laurels and misses were lashes. Back in my body, I slunk through the back entrance like a ghost. ID badge cloned from her desk. Hair dyed mousy to dodge recognition. Officially, I was on leave. A euphemism for blacklisted. But grudges don't punch clocks.
Victoria.
Reinstated in her glory, strutted the halls like she'd never worn my skin. Her poached clients orbiting like moons to her sun. The board adored her. Vic's the closer we need, the CEO drawled in memos I'd hacked via her lingering desktop access. My first move was surgical, a whisper campaign, seated in the executive washroom and watered via LinkedIn DMs from burner accounts. Heard Hales cooking the books, Whitaker's pulling back. Doubt spread like flu in flu season.
Client et Jingbe.
Her pipeline springing leaks. She noticed, of course, snapping at assistance, her yoga-sculpted calm cracking. I watched from the shadows. Catering cart duty procured via a temp agency favor. Rolling shrimp puffs while eavesdropping on her meltdown calls. No. Harlan's not a threat. She's radioactive. Radioactive.
Cute.
If only she knew the half-life on revenge. Nights. I holed up in my walk-up. The walls closing like a vice. Pouring over the USB's dirt. Elias's enhancer wasn't just unethical, it was a weapon. Trialed on underlings to enhance pitches. Leaving them fried, lawsuits buried in NDAs. And Victoria, the architect, funneling profits to her family's pack, laundering influence for senators who'd greenlight Apex's mergers. Power. Pure and poisonous. The American dream distilled to backroom deals and brown envelopes. But betrayal's a two-way street. And mine ran deeper. Digging through her encrypted folders, I unearthed the secret. Our Wharton fire wasn't a prank. It was arson. Deliberate. To torch a dean's car after he rejected her thesis. Plagiarism flagged. Her golden ticket revoked. I confessed to protect her. Taking probation while she graduated summa. You owed me, the note in her journal read, scrawled in loopy script.
Owed?
I'd carried her sins like a backpack of bricks, building her pedestal on my bent back. Empowered, I escalated. Infiltrating as Gina, a fictional junior analyst. I scheduled a synergy session with her biggest fish, the Keller Group, $50 mil in recurring revenue. Over Zoom from a midtown WeWork. I channeled her schmooze, Southern Belle bullshit laced with stats. Victoria's vision is bold, but let's talk contingencies. Her recent volatility, the exec spit, citing internal chatter. By end of day, Keller hedged 20%, a hemorrhage she'd feel it close. She cornered Gina in the lobby next day, me, in ill-fitting blazer and contacts, eyes blazing.
Who sent you?
Harlan. Her grip on my arm was vice-tight, nails digging crescents. I twisted free, dropping my voice to a purr. Just doing my job.
Emmett. Hale.
Word is, HR's auditing your trades. Loose lips. You know. Her laugh was acid. Grace always was the moral compass. Pity it's magnetized to bullshit. But doubt flickered good. That night, she drowned it in martinis at Le Bernardin, her husband trailing like a remora. I tailed, nursing a soda water at the bar, eavesdropping as she vented. That bitch thinks she can claw back? I'll bury her deeper. Her spouse, bland as Wonder Bread, murmured platitudes. But I caught the subtext, his own affairs. Her blind eye for leverage. Controversy brewed when I leaked the enhancer trials to a whistleblower site. Anonymized but juicy. Apex's mind games, stealing brains for bonuses? It trended on Reddit's r/Wall Street Bets. Memes of zombie execs flooding feeds. The board panicked, calling an emergency huddle. Victoria spun it masterfully, sabotaged by a disgruntled ex, but cracks showed. Stock dipped 3%. Analysts sniffing for SEC meat. My decisions, the kind that keep you up with Maylocks and what-ifs. Do I torch Elias? Force a confession? No, too clean. Instead, I dosed her coffee from the communal urn, a micro-hit of the enhancer prototype swiped from the lab. Just enough to blur her edges, make pitches falter. Watching her stumble through a client call, repeating phrases, glazing over, was cathartic, a mirror of the fog she'd inflicted on me post-frame. But guilt gnawed. Was this justice or just jaundice? As Q3 deadlines loomed, tension coiled like a spring in a bear trap. I gened my way into HR's purge files. Marlene's sanctum, a fortress of firewalls, I breached with a phishing email disguised as a diversity seminar invite. There, the crown jewel, Victoria's signed affidavit, perjuring me for the fraud she orchestrated. Grace authorized all transfers. Full stop. Lies in legalese. But the metadata screamed forgery. Armed, I prepped the kill shot, an encrypted drop to the board, timed for quarter close, framing it as internal audit findings. But first, confrontation. I lured her to the rooftop bar at the Standard, skyline sprawling like a conquered kingdom. She arrived late, windswept and wary, accepting my truce, text with a scoff. Grace. Still playing dress-up. We clinked glasses, hers gin, mine ginger ale, the city humming below. To loose ends, I toasted, sliding a folder across the iron table. Prints of her journal.
The affidavit.
Enhancer logs. Her face drained, lips parting like a fish on a hook. You wouldn't. This destroys Apex. Us. Us. There was never an us.
Beak.
You built me to break me. Wind whipped, carrying echoes of distant sirens. She lunged for the folder, but I held firm. The drop clutched like a grenade pin.
Resign.
Quietly. Or the board gets the full show. Your daddy's pack ties. The arson cover. Everything. Her eyes. Cold as the Hudson. Calculated. Blackmail? That's low. Even for you. But she folded. Marginally, agreeing to review my reinstatement. A stall. I knew. As she descended in the glass elevator, silhouette shrinking, I felt the rush, power, inverted. That night, alone in my apartment, the swap's aftershocks hit, phantom itches where her tattoos hid, dreams of mirrored faces screaming. Was I becoming her? The enhancer dose I'd taken. Experimental empathy boost. Blurred lines, I tasted her regrets. A flicker of remorse for the intern she'd burned. Humanized my monster. Made the revenge taste bitter. Dawn broke with a bang. Keller pulled out entirely, citing ethical misalignment. Victoria's empire wobbled, HR's probe escalating to full forensic. The board summoned her, and I, still Gina, slipped into the gallery, heart hammering as she testified. Voice steady, but eyes haunted. Lies flowed, but I had the recording app running. Her perjury captured in crystal. Climax brewed. Controversial as a filibuster. Do I pull the trigger now? Damn the fallout, jobs lost, pensions vaporized? Or drag it? Savor the bleed? The decision, accelerate. At midnight, as servers synced quarter reports, I hit send. The drop landed in inboxes. The real Apex fraud. Victoria Hale's House of Cards. Sirens wailed by 2 a.m., not metaphorical.
SEC vend idlet curbside.
Agents swarming the tower. Victoria's penthouse lights blazed, her silhouette pacing like a caged panther. I watched from across the street. Rain mingling with tears, not hers.
Mine.
Revenge was a mirror, cracking under its weight. The fallout from the leak was a slow-motion car wreck. The kind you can't look away from because it's your own goddamn Civic. By sunup, Apex Tower was a fortress under siege, reporters milling like vultures outside, their lenses hungry for the scent of scandal. Inside, the trading floor devolved into chaos, phones silenced on Do Not Comment, interns shredding docs in a frenzy that jammed the machines. I embedded deeper as Gina, my temp badge a skeleton key to the panic room of conference calls and crisis PR. Victoria held court in the C-suite. Her poise a brittle veneer over the rage I could smell from the vents, Chanel spiked with desperation. She'd traced the leak to a ghost IP. Raging to the CEO, it's her. Harlan's got an axe and she's swinging wild, but proof?
Nil.
I'd routed through Tor nodes in Estonia. Triple encrypted. The board, those gray-suited titans who'd golfed with her father, wavered. Vic. The numbers don't lie. Q3's hemorrhaging. Step back. Step back? She'd sooner step off the ledge. Her counterpunch came swift, a smear campaign, painting me as the unhinged ex, doxing my socials with fabricated posts about corporate sabotage. My inbox flooded. Threats from trolls. Job blacklists from headhunters on her speed dial. One night, as I dodged a tail her PI, sloppy in a black Escalade, I confronted the mirror. Was this worth it? My reflection, hollow-cheeked from skipped meals, whispered no. But the fire in my gut, stoked by years of her shadows, roared yes. Deeper into her web, I uncovered the chasm. The crime I'd shouldered wasn't just fraud, it was murder, white-collar style. 2 years back, a whistleblower intern, poor kid named Raj, fresh off the boat from Mumbai, stumbled on her slush fund. She'd handled it, enhancer overdose during a mentorship session. Ruled accidental OD. Cover-up complete, with me signing off on the termination memo she'd forged. I'd gambled my conscience for loyalty, thinking it was a one-off.
Now.
Ghosts demanded reckoning. Armed with Raja's redacted file, pilfered from HR's archives, I escalated. Controversial as leaking nudes in a Puritan town.
Dropped it to a podcaster.
Wall Street whispers, framing it as anonymous source. The episode dropped midweek. Apex's dark secret. Did Victoria Hale kill for commissions? Downloads spiked. Apex murder trending. Protesters chaining themselves to the lobby doors with signs reading justice for Raj. She cracked then, cornering me, Gina, in the stairwell, her heels echoing like gunshots.
You bitch.
This ends now. Her slap landed. Fire across my cheek. But I didn't flinch. Instead, I played her game, whispered the swap's truth. Low and lethal. Feel that echo. Vic, that's how it felt. Waking up as you, knowing every dirty deal you'd inked with my hand. Her eyes bulged. Color draining.
Impossible.
Elias said. Elias lies for you. Like I did. I shoved Raj's photo into her palm. The kid's smile at accusation. Resign. Or this goes viral. Full board. Full press. She crumpled against the rail. Manhattan's hum mocking her. For a heartbeat, vulnerability real. Raw, flickered. Grace. It wasn't personal. The game's rigged. Dad always said, save the sob story for the deposition. But as I descended, leaving her shattered, doubt clawed, was I the villain now? Wielding grief like a club, the enhancer's empathy lingered. Her memories bleeding, a girl raised in gilded cages, devouring to avoid devouring. Humanized, but not absolved. Quarter end bled into overtime Armageddon. Clients bolted. Whitaker sued for breach. Keller filed complaints. HR. Marlene at the helm. Initiated mass layoffs. Her axe falling on the loyal while Victoria's allies got golden parachutes. I sabotaged from within, tampered reports. Inflating her losses by 15% via doctored spreadsheets. Controversial? Hell yes, innocents caught in the crossfire. Bonuses vaporized. But mercy was for boardrooms, not betrayals. The board's special session was theater, walnut-paneled war room. Catered despair in the form of cold cuts and Cabernet. I infiltrated as catering staff, irony's chef's kiss, wheeling in trays while they dissected her. Victoria's the linchpin, one suit argued. But the optics. Another. Harlan?
She was solid.
Maybe we scapegoated wrong. She burst in mid-deliberation, disheveled in a power suit gone rogue, skirt hiked, blouse untucked. This is a witch hunt. Grace fabricated it all. She's unstable. Post-termination breakdown. Lies tumbled. But her eyes darted to me. Trays trembling in my grip. Recognition sparked. Horror dawning. The CEO sighed. Steepled fingers like a funeral director.
Vic. Step down.
Voluntary leave.
Wheel.
Investigate. She whirled on him. Venom spitting. You cowards. After everything, my father built this firm. A chair toppled, echoing the gala's trust fall. As security escorted her out, thrashing like a marlin, she locked eyes with me, promise of hell in sapphire. Post-eviction. Her retaliation was feral. My apartment door splintered one dawn. Burglars. But her scent on the gloves. Nothing taken. Just trashed. My Wharton diploma shredded. Raja's memorial photo smeared with lipstick. Message clear. Your turn to bleed. I barricaded, sleeping with a kitchen knife. The city's pulse a lullaby of paranoia. But escalation favored me. With her out, I G'd into her vacant office, mining emails for the kill, correspondence with senators, quid pro quo for deregulation. Leaked to ProPublica. It ignited Apex's political playbook. Hale's handouts to Hill? Subpoenas flew. Her father's empire quaking from D.C. to Delaware. Nights blurred into nicotine haze, hers, adopted habit and moral quagmires. I dosed a colleague accidentally. Enhancer slip in the break room, leaving him babbling in a pitch. Collateral. But it haunted. Was revenge evolution or devolution? The swap had wired us closer. Her despair seeping like osmosis. I dreamed her childhood. Boardroom beatings from Daddy Dearest. Forging a survivor who'd devour kin. Climax crested at the shareholder meet. Javits Center swarming with suits and suspicion. Victoria crashed the podium. Mic in hand. A specter in Chanel. Apex is rotten. Starting with Grace Harlan. Slides flashed, doctored chats. Me confessing to leaks. Gasps rippled. But I was ready, back row. Laptop live streaming counters. Real metadata. Her forgeries exposed in real time. Chaos erupted, fists, shouts. A water glass shattering like her facade. Security swarmed, but not before she lunged stagefront. Spotlight catching tears. She stole my life. The swap, it's real. Delirium or truth? The crowd murmured. Phones capturing her unraveling. As cuffs clicked, assault on a board proxy, I slipped out. Heart a war drum. Victory? Or Pyrrhic? The firm I'd loved gutted? Quarter end closed in red ink. HR bleeding memos of dissolution. But the real bleed was hers. And mine, the cost of carrying sins not my own. The shareholder melee made front-page fodder. Apex heiress's meltdown. Corporate coup or breakdown. Paparazzi camped my stoop, mistaking me for collateral. Their flashes like accusatory strobes. I vanished into a midtown motel. Cash-only dive with thin walls and thinner mercy. Plotting the endgame while roaches skittered symphonies. Victoria's arrest was theater, bail posted by dawn. Her lawyer a shark from daddy's firm, but the damage festered. Apex stock cratered 12%. Board resignations dominoing like drunks at last call. From the shadows, I orchestrated the siege. As Gina, I'd embedded a worm in the servers, harmless. Audit trail only, capturing her post-bail emails, frantic pleas to senators, deny everything. Bribes to Elias, bury the enhancer. Even a hit on me via a CD fixer, make Harlan disappear. Quiet. Controversial crossroads. Expose the contract? It'd martyr her.
Paint me vigilante.
Or use it. Leverage for a confession? I chose the blade's edge. Arranged a meet at the High Line. That elevated scar of rust and romance. Dusk painting the tracks in bruised purples. She arrived solo. Trench coat flapping like broken wings. Face gaunt under makeup artillery. Grace.
You win.
What now? Glowed. We walked the rails. Tourists oblivious. The city a indifferent god below. Confess, I said. Voice steady as the stolen badge in my pocket. Raj. The fraud.
The swap.
All of it. Her laugh was hollow. Wind scattered. And go to jail? For playing the game better? She stopped at a bench, overlooking the Hudson's oily sheen. You think you're clean? That fire, you lit the match too.
Grace.
We both burned. The accusation landed, twisting the knife I'd ignored. Wharton nights. Her tears after the dean's rejection. My Zippo flicking to help. Shared sin. But she'd walked free while I carried the ash. Doesn't absolve you, I countered, shoving the hit contract printout into her palm. That's not a game. That's grave digging. She scanned it, crumpling like trash. Desperation. I'd never, but her eyes betrayed. The liars tell. A micro-twitch. Silence stretched, broken by a distant fairy horn. Then, the crack. Raj. He was collateral. Like you were meant to be. Voice small. A girl's whisper. The enhancer's ghost stirred, her memory flooding. The kid's pleas. Her calculated OD dose. Guilt buried under quarterly highs. Pity surged. Unwanted. But I quashed it. Resign publicly. Point the finger at yourself. Or this hits the wires contract. Confessions. The works. Controversial calculus. Forcing her suicide by scandal. Ruining innocence in the ripple. But Mercy had boarded the wrong train years ago. She nodded, defeated, the fight leaching like color from her cheeks.
Fine.
But know this, the swap changed me too. I felt your weight.
Grace.
The loyalty you squandered on me. Tears tracked mascara rivers. Human. Finally, too late. The confession aired on 60 Minutes 2 nights later. Primetime mea culpa. Victoria in Pearls and Penitence. Detailing the fraud. Raja's negligent death. Even hinting at enhancer horrors without naming names. I lost my way, she intoned, voice cracking for the cameras. Apex imploded, CEO ousted, assets frozen, the board scattering like roaches to dawn. HR's final act, my exoneration. Back pay wired with a terse welcome back, but victory soured quick. Protests swelled, Justice Farage trending. Pickets at every Apex satellite. Elias vanished, rumored to Costa Rica with a duffel of patents. And me? Offers trickled, headhunters sniffing redemption arc, but the mirror mocked, lines deeper, eyes harder. The swap scar, neural tattoos of her ambition, whispered temptations, poach a rival. Cut a corner? Victoria's reckoning peaked in court. Federal courtroom, a pressure cooker of suits and sobs. I testified. Voice echoing off oak panels, the frame job, the buried arson, the enhancer's theft of self. Her cross-exam was vicious, MS. Harlan, isn't revenge your motive? But the jury saw through. Her charisma curdled to desperation. Verdict, guilty on fraud. Manslaughter plea for Raj. Sentence, 15 to life. White-collar purgatory in minimum security with yoga and therapy. As marshals led her away, she turned, our eyes locking through the gallery din. No words, just a nod acknowledgement, or absolution. The courtroom emptied, leaving me with echoes and an envelope, her letter, smuggled via lawyer. You gave me truth's mirror. Hate you for it. Forgive?
Vic.
Crumpled in my fist. It burned like the fire we'd started. Post-trial. The city chewed and spat. Podcasts dissected our feud. Novels pitched on the body swap betrayal. I resurfaced at a boutique firm. Smaller fish, but cleaner pond. Closing deals without ghosts. But tension lingered. Nights jolted awake. Her face in mine. The swap's what if? What if reversal failed? Would I have become her? Or she me? The board's realization hit like aftershock. In the dissolution filings, my role emerged not fall guy, but unsung architect. Memos surfaced, praising my pipelines as Hale's backbone. A quiet settlement, 7 figures, non-disclosure on the madness. Enough for a brownstone. Therapy, maybe a cat named Raj. Yet controversy clung. Was I hero or hatchet? Forums debated, Grace avenged, but at what cost? Apex jobs lost. Families ruined. Debatable. Sure, the American way, where justice is a jury-rigged jury. As seasons turned, rain to snow on Central Park, I walked the paths. Her letter ash in a forgotten urn. Revenge closed the circle, but circles scar. And in quiet moments, I wondered, whose skin was I truly in now? Winter gripped Manhattan like a grudge. Snow blanketing the scars of Apex's ruin. Barricades gone. But ghosts in the wind howling through gutted lobbies. 6 months post-verdict. I was Grace Harlan 2.0, consultant gig at a fintech startup. Therapy Tuesdays unpacking the swap's psychic shrapnel. And a wary eye on headlines. Victoria's appeal dragged. Her face splashed in tabloids. Eris's prison yoga, redemption or rebrand, but the real twist brewed in shadows I'd overlooked. It started with a package. Unmarked. Dropped at my new brownstone stoop. Manila envelope. No return. Contents spilling like Pandora's regrets. Photos first grainy surveillance of me as Gina. Timestamps from the leaks. Then docs, lab reports. Elias's scrawl decoding the enhancer's true protocol. Not a glitch. Not her pet project.
Mine.
The inversion hit like Vertigo Reborn. Reading by lamplight. Hands shaking. The truth inverted, during Wharton's fire cover. I'd confessed, not out of loyalty, but calculation, stealing her thesis notes to bolster my own, the blaze a diversion for my plagiarism grab. She'd known. Let me take the fall to bind me.
But the enhancer?
I'd greenlit it anonymously years back, tipping R&D via a shell email, dreaming of borrowing her edge for my climb. The swap wasn't fate or sabotage, it was karma's cruel compiler, forcing me to live her sins in her skin. Horror choked me, air thick as the betrayal I'd authored. I'd framed her as the soul serpent, but we'd coiled together, scales entwined. The hit contract, forged by me,
Post-swap rage.
leaked to force her hand. Raj's death? I'd signed the memo, knowing the OD whiff, burying it for quarterly glory. Her confession? My script, fed through back channels.
Sur une mutuelle destruction.
Panic clawed. Confess now. Or carry the double weight. Controversial to the marrow. Expose the duo act. And my settlement evaporates. New life nuked. But silence? A coward's crown. Heavier than her Chanel. Dawn found me pacing. Snow muffling the world. When the call came, blocked number. Her voice, tinny through prison filters. Grace. Or whoever you are now. Check the news. I flicked on the set. CNN's ticker screaming. Apex whistleblower bombshell. Harlan Hale duet in fraud. Elias.
Nabbed in Costa Rica.
Singing for immunity. The enhancer's dual architects. Our emails unmasked. The swap a self-inflicted loop. Reporters swarmed my door. Badges flashing like indictments. MS. Harlan. Comment on the partnership.
Partnership.
The word soured. I bolted lines to the lawyer, no statement but inside. The crumble. Her appeal granted retrial. My testimony tainted. The board's quiet payout clawed back in civil suits. The climax inverted in a federal holding cell. Me in orange that clashed with my karma. Her across the table in video link, thinner. But eyes alight with vindication. Told you.
Grace.
We were always the same snake. Lawyers droned pleas. But we tuned them. Twin minds synced beyond the machine. Why expose now? I hissed. Screen glitching like our souls. Elias cornered. But truth? You handed me the mirror. I just held it up. Her smile. Mirror of mine. Twisted. Revenge complete. Or is it? Retrial blurred. Testimonies overlapping like bad dub. Evidence a hall of mirrors. The jury, blue-collar skeptics, saw through the gloss. Two ambitious vipers, devouring each other in the dream's belly. Verdict split. Her fraud upheld. Mine manslaughter added. 10 years. Concurrent. A shared cage. Prison was purgatory American style. Concrete and counseling. Yoga mats stained with sweat and saris. We crossed paths in transfers, her supermax adjacent. Conjugal visits swapped for stare-downs through plexi. No words needed. The swap's echo sufficed. Her regrets mine. My guilt's hers. Ending? Debatable as a hung jury. Some called it justice. Equals eviscerated.
Apex S radicalized.
Others, tragedy. Two women warped by the grind. Swapping skins only to find the monster within.
Me?
In quiet cell block dawns, scribbling memoirs for parole boards. I ponder the hook. If I'd never flicked that Zippo, never craved her crown, would we have ruled together? Or devoured the firm from day one? The board realized too late my role not victim, but co-conspirator. The pipeline propped by our poisons. As snow melts to spring outside, I write this. Words a lifeline or noose. Forgiveness? Hers. In a smuggled note. Sisters and scales. Break free. Mine? Pending. But if there's a moral in this mess, it's this. In America's arena, betrayal's a boomerang, hurled hard. It circles back wearing your face. And sometimes, the only revenge is reckoning with the reflection.